Sometimes relationships don't end suddenly. Sometimes they slowly fade, not through one major argument, not through betrayal, but through small emotional changes that quietly grow over time. The conversations become shorter. The affection becomes inconsistent. The effort begins disappearing in subtle ways. And often, the most painful part is this. You can feel something changing, long before anyone says it out loud. Today, we're going to explore the hidden signs that a partner may be losing emotional interest in a relationship, and why these shifts can feel so confusing and emotionally painful. But first, a story. The story. At first, Ava never questioned how Ethan felt about her. Their relationship felt easy, natural, exciting. Ethan used to text her throughout the day. He noticed small things. He asked thoughtful questions. Even ordinary moments felt meaningful because of the attention they gave each other. But slowly, something began changing. Not dramatically, subtly. At first, Ava told herself she was overthinking. Maybe Ethan was just stressed, busy, tired. But over time, the emotional distance became harder to ignore. The long conversations became short replies. The excitement slowly faded into routine, and the warmth she once felt from him began feeling inconsistent. What hurt the most was that nothing obvious had happened. There was no clear explanation, just a growing feeling that the connection was slowly slipping away. Sign 1. Communication becomes surface level. One of the earliest signs of emotional disconnection is a change in communication. In healthy relationships, communication creates emotional closeness. Partners stay curious about each other. They ask questions, share thoughts, talk about their day. But when someone begins losing interest emotionally, conversations often become shallow. Short replies replace meaningful discussions. Effort disappears from conversations. And over time, communication begins feeling more like obligation than connection. For Ava, this became impossible to ignore. Ethan still replied, but he no longer seemed emotionally present. Sign 2. Affection becomes inconsistent. At the beginning of the relationship, affection felt natural. Small touches, warm messages, simple moments of closeness. But now, affection began appearing less frequently. And when it did appear, it sometimes felt automatic rather than genuine. Inconsistent affection can create emotional confusion because moments of warmth still exist, just not with the same consistency as before. This often causes one partner to hold on to hope while simultaneously feeling emotionally uncertain. Sign 3. They stop prioritizing the relationship. As emotional interest fades, priorities often shift. People naturally invest time and energy into what emotionally matters to them. And when a relationship begins losing emotional importance, effort usually decreases too. Ethan became more distracted. Plans were postponed more often. Conversations felt rushed. And Ava noticed she was becoming the one initiating most of the connection. Not because Ethan openly wanted to hurt her, but because emotional investment was quietly changing. Sign 4. Emotional distance increases. Sometimes emotional distance appears before physical distance does. A partner may still be physically present, while emotionally feeling far away. Conversations lose emotional depth. Vulnerability decreases. Moments that once felt intimate begin feeling disconnected. For Ava, this was the most painful part. Ethan was still there, but emotionally, he felt harder and harder to reach. And loneliness inside a relationship can sometimes feel more painful than loneliness alone. Sign 5. You start feeling like you're chasing the relationship. One evening, Ava noticed something that deeply unsettled her. She was the one starting most conversations, planning most dates, trying hardest to reconnect emotionally. And slowly, the relationship began feeling unbalanced. This is one of the clearest signs of emotional withdrawal. One person begins carrying the emotional weight of maintaining the connection. And over time, this creates exhaustion, anxiety, and emotional insecurity. Because relationships should feel mutual, not like one person constantly trying to hold everything together alone. Why this happens? Relationships are complex. Sometimes emotional disconnection happens because of stress, unresolved issues, emotional immaturity, or personal struggles. Other times, feelings genuinely begin changing. But regardless of the reason, emotional distance rarely appears all at once. It usually grows slowly, through patterns, reduced effort, reduced curiosity, reduced emotional presence. And because these changes happen gradually, many people struggle to recognize them clearly at first. One quiet night, Ava sat alone after Ethan had fallen asleep, and for the first time, she stopped asking herself, "How do I get things back to how they were?" Instead, she asked something different. "Why am I feeling lonely beside someone I love?" That question changed everything, because she realized she had been focusing so much on saving the relationship that she had stopped paying attention to how emotionally alone she had started feeling inside it. And sometimes clarity begins when people stop chasing reassurance and start honestly acknowledging what they feel. Relationships naturally go through different seasons. No relationship feels emotionally intense every moment. But healthy relationships continue showing effort, emotional presence, and mutual care even during difficult periods. Because love is not only about staying physically present, it's about remaining emotionally connected. And when emotional connection begins disappearing consistently, the relationship itself often begins quietly changing too. Recognizing these signs is not about assuming the worst. It's about understanding emotional patterns honestly, so people can communicate clearly, protect their emotional well-being, and build healthier connections moving forward. Have you ever noticed emotional distance growing in a relationship? What signs stood out to you first? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might help someone else better understand what they're experiencing. And if you enjoy thoughtful conversations about relationships, emotional psychology, and personal growth, subscribe to Marriage and Relationship 247 for more videos exploring the deeper realities of love and human connection.